it chips off again. So those are considered misses in Lake Dublin. You've got to get by. So this in Italy just not on top of the game today so far.
So the breakdown is between draws and takeout shooting wise for Corey Dropkin. You add it up.
Meeting to order. We usually begin with the pledge of allegiance and we'll ask Mark if they'll kind of round up the kids that are here for the ESPY awards. They're gonna lead us at the end right here. Yeah, right here, please, take your back, we'll be ready, but we need to get rid of the right. Okay. Right, and again. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The exceptional student performance this year award has recognizes students who are doing well academically, have an acceptable and positive attitude about school. They demonstrate respect and responsibility towards staff and their peers. They show courage by not conforming to peer pressure and refuse to accept anyone who bullies. The school board and the district want to recognize the students by celebrating their success at the beginning of each board meeting. And students receive a certificate, meet the board members, the names are announced on the web. After everyone gets their award, they typically come forward and the new era takes a picture of you all. So with that, Rachel's gonna announce our award winners this month.
Bailey Kimball. From Sweet Home. From Sweet Home High School, Trenton Template. From Sweet Home Junior High, Ava Desmond. From Sweet Home Junior High School, Scott Westfall. From Foster Elementary, Franklin Neal. Also from Foster Elementary, Brody Neal. From Hawthorne Elementary, Tyson Visser. From Hawthorne Elementary, Brinley Sedgwick. From Holly Elementary, Eston Hay. From Holly Elementary, Andy Hoffman. From Brook Heights Elementary, Hazel Larson. From Oak Heights Elementary, Ava McConnell. From Sweet Home Charter School, Chloe Lawson. Sweet Home Charter School, Owen Barnes.
And at this point, we'd ask everybody to bring their awards and come up here. Right in this area and get that, right. This is.
Little guys up front, big kids in the back.
Face back toward the parents.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure everybody would follow to the back. Hi, Paul, what you would do with it. All right, everybody back up just a little bit for the small people. And then, yeah, if you come with your certificates, where you can actually see the name of the building on it. All right, here we go. All right, ready?
Thanks,
Why don't you come over here, thank you. There we go. This is kind of down, things out of the way. Perfect, all right, ready? One, two, three, again, 1, 2, 3. All right.
Good job, guys. Congratulations.
Now, we realize this is a school night and, at least the older kids have homework and are dying to get home and do it. And at this time, very common, if you don't want to stay for the entire meeting, you can head out. We understand the kids not wanting to attend the entire meeting.
Julie, our board secretary, is on Zoom. And for the record, I will say that there's 7 members present. Amanda texted Julie, said she was running late. Haven't heard from Mary, and I'm supposed to repeat everything so that Julie record. But with that, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Sorry, I'm. At this time, are there any public comments? Good evening. I have a few words to say about the expense report that is in your packet that was referenced last week. So I did a public records request after last meeting for that expense report. I asked for that expense report to include all expenditures and receipts. I received the same report that you received, which neglected to provide any receipt for that expense report. It did take around 2 weeks to get that report to me, which I was a little shocked, considering the digital world we live in. I assume we just did print and things come, but some of the items that I took note of in that report were surprising to me. Last year, $30,000 was spent, as you can see in that report, for travel and professional development. But what was budgeted for the budget process was $10,000. The year before that was $46,000 spent, $7,500 was budgeted. And the year before that, I think it said 18,000 was spent, and about 4,000 was budgeted. I believe that there is rules involved with the budgeting process and overages of budget. And I would be interested to know what, and then we're not answering questions, we talked about it last time. I'd be interested to know what action is taken if budget is over. So the plan, spend more. But I also took notice of a number of important details in that expense report. So 15 times in the last 3 years, leadership has been out of the district on overnight travel. Professional development. Some as close as Eugene and Salem for overnight trip. Some as far away as New Orleans and Texas. I asked this board, how does that move the dial? The last report was 37% of our third graders can read on state level. But yet we spent over $100,000. Nary a thing has happened. We spent $15,000 on continuing education, professional development, leadership in this district to get a professional license. But we still needed over $100,000 in professional development. My concern is we are about to ask this community $40 million. But yet we have budget overages of tens of thousands of dollars for travel, for meals. $4,800 for one meal. It's 2 months. This money could have purchased a lot of playground equipment, a lot of textbooks, a lot of coats, a lot of shoes, take and pay. But I think it would be great if this board would dive into that and make sure there's a little bit of transparency. And make sure that the money we spend is allocated towards students and doing the data. Not lunch on the way back from Albany. And I will be getting with Kevin again and asking to be received, but I still get to receive those. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
But any other comments?
Are there any agenda approval or changes? Agenda approval or changes? Is there something, Mr. Martin, that is set to occur later in the week?
We would like to have an additional meeting, the Zoom meeting, to discuss property.
An executive session followed by an open session. Is there well, we'll talk about the time later. Student personnel reports and comments. Certified and classified representatives.
We need to approve the agendas.
Sure, we can do that. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll second that.
Jenna, seconded by Dale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Passes unanimously. Next, we will have certified and classified representatives.
Well, Thelma, you have to keep her in your prayers.
Yep.
We're praying for a full and speedy recovery. She had a triple problem, right? Yeah.
Triple L's. Okay.
She was, she is one of my classmates. We're celebrating the 40th class reunion. So that's, I don't like been out of school for about 20 years. But, no, I do wanna, I was talking with, Ollie and I think Kevin, or John's gonna share a little bit about what he had going on, but I give a shout out to, they had somebody set up 50 Korea. Is that right? Did I say that right? That's good. That's good enough, right? Okay, she stepped up as the president of the PTC out there at the beginning of the year, and people get involved like that. Very, very nice and happy to go that out. So, but I don't have a lot of going on. We started talking a little bit informally regarding contract stuff, and that part has begun. Got a lot going on in our schools right now. Rounding out our winter sports and getting ready to start our spring sports. And you know, we've been talking about you guys about what's going on at the school. So do you guys have any questions for me about anything that's happening in the school or what's going on? Just, you know, we're business as usual, creating opportunities for kids and doing some pretty cool stuff. I will tell you that we did talk a little bit about it today, but Joanna said, and Josh was talking about it, but Oregon State came out and created these Oregon State students working their on their thesis and different things. They loved the break, they said, as they went out, provided this neat opportunity for kids at all school, and it reminded me how we have our med students that come to the high school and interact with our kids and do things, and I just don't see that happening in great big districts everywhere. It's kind of something pretty cool to hear about. We'll go down, you know, pretty special, I think. But if you guys have any questions for me, you know, I welcome you guys to come check out the things that are going on at the school. You know, make sure you check in with the principals first, so don't just show up. Okay, but hey, you guys, hey. All right, we're going home. We'll see you.
Thanks, Steve.
Next, the student report.
We just had a second blood drive of the year. So that we got 40 units of blood and 120 possible life saving. Leadership wise, we are continuing our leadership lectures. We had George Virtue come and present to our leadership class, and we're going to go to Camp Smith, where during the second period, our leadership students, if they aren't too busy, go out and pick up trash and do all that stuff. And today, on March 7th, has a community night. They're all sort of dinner. They were just there 2 weeks. The students, it'll be over at the high school, which is Dick Syndrome. It starts at 4, dinner is served at 6. And the FFA team is going to sectionals.
What date was that?
Sorry,
What was that date?
March 7th.
And they're going where?
Sectionals.
So what is their discipline they're gonna go compete at, you know? Okay.
We have our senior night for Unified coming up on the 20th at 5. We also have our OSU basketball tournament for Unified on the 21st. And tomorrow, we have back night for Unified at 7. And then theater, there's auditioning going on right now. They have a play in April. So there's auditioning going on. So choir has a concert March 5th at 7. Band has a concert April 7th, and jazz band has a competition the 24th. Forest wise, OLC competition is going on the 20th. They helped plant 2,100 trees and shrubs behind the Boys and Girls Club, the city of Washington Temple. And swim on their senior night. And their districts are the 13th and 14th at 10. South. Wrestling also on their senior night, both boys and girls. Districts this Saturday starts at 10 in Newport. And basketball senior night at 10. Girls at 5:30, guys at 7.
What time was the unified game that you spoke of?
The bar
Yep.
is at 7.
In the senior night one?
The senior night is at 5.
Thank you.
You have any questions for us? Have homework you want to get home and work on? Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Hey, good evening, starting off with the enrollment. We are down slightly this month over last month. Prior month, we'd stayed relatively stable. There were 5 students at the junior high, and 11 at the high school. At the high school, over half of those were 10-day drops, so we may be receiving those back. And then there were moves to local, communities.
How many of those were graduates? Did anyone graduate early out of that number?
Not in that, but we do have 13 thus far. On the year 13 early graduates. And then moving on to attendance. Hawthorne continues their streak to the devilment of the rest. Hawthorne was at 93.5%. So congratulations to Hawthorne. And then before I continue on down through the reports, we do have Nancy Griffin here from LBL ESD. And Nancy would like to speak to us. So Nancy. She promised lots of slides, PowerPoints, and at least a half hour. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nancy Griffith, and I'm the assistant superintendent at LPL ESD. And here your Iowa superintendent on this level and have any questions about any of the services I know you've already looked at the service plan. I have questions if you have any about our from the school way time. Yeah. I love when we do initiating. Everyone.
Just Nancy functions as the number 2 at the ESD. Jason was here earlier this year. And this is just part of both of them getting out to the school boards and getting names and faces together and seeing if they have questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Was it Foggy?
Asking, are there services that you're providing these last year or two that are new that they haven't seen as often in the past?
For you guys, no, we are offering a, for town, local districts with branding. We have one district who lost a bunch of students, and so we're working with them to try to help put them back. Advertising some here for public school, but kind of what it is reaching out to them and finding out why they left and trying to bring them back. So that's a new service that we're looking at. It's last year, you're gonna be able to year 1, and so we are providing cyber security to all of our districts.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, under pillar 1. Safe and engaging schools. We have Foster reported 4 conflicts. 0 bullying reports, Hawthorne 0, Holly 0. Oak Heights, 9 conflicts. 0 founded bully reports, 1 moved into conflict monitoring between the students. Junior high reported 8 conflicts, no bullying reports founded. High school, there was 1 conflict, 0 founded bully reports. So these will continue to be part of our monthly reporting as reported out from the school. We talked a little bit more about that last time. Questions on that? Next up, we had 2 thriving students and prepared citizens. Nate Tyler from the junior high is going to speak with us.
Good evening, guys. So 3 years ago, Gary got me a job from junior high. We sat down and talked. I was at the position. I had only ever looked at in high school prior to that, so that's all I knew. So one of the things that I wanted to do when I went to the junior high was align with what I was in high school. So we took the handbook from the high school. A lot of the things that we do after junior high is exactly what the high school does, trying to prepare them for that transition a little bit better. All high schools do different things for the community and stuff. Sweet Home does take it to the next level. You think about November, how much money they raise, how much food they raise. It's absolutely amazing what they do. And so we wanted to start bringing that awareness to the junior high kids a little bit earlier than that. High school, when you look at Sweet Home, people will say what they want about Sweet Home, but the people that are from who grew up here, they know that when there's a need, this community rallies. And that's the legal side of Sweet Home. And so trying to get that instilled in our students a little bit earlier was kind of the focus. So since I've been up there, we jumped on the November Food Basket with the high school. We don't come even close to what the high school brings in. But that's just a little homeroom competition. We did that through the Shem, the high school, they need more stuff. And then just community pantry, wherever they can go. This year, Mr. Kaufman's homeroom class won that. We kind of fell off the radar, but just gave him his homeroom pizza lunch as the winner last week. So the kids were super excited about that. And then that brought awareness from other kids that would have liked that next time. So we had fun talking with kids about that. Another thing we adopted a couple years back was February is kindness. And so unfortunately this year, with different things going on with the staff, we haven't been able to plan as early as we normally would. So that's really starting next week, like middle of March. But we're still calling kindness month. So first year what we did was we raised funds for the child with cancer. So partnered with a nonprofit here in town. We did some fundraising and the school was running half for the day, one of the janitor for the day. And it ended up being about $4,000, a little bit more than that year. We did with a family who's traveling to Stanford University for treatments. Not a lot, but just bringing awareness to the kids again. This is what we need here. We take care of our families in town. The second year, what we did was we raised money for a scholarship. We call it the Pay It Forward Scholarship. We brought in $1,000 for that. And so we had seniors to apply, but the gimmick was that if you didn't apply for yourself, you had to apply for a friend and tell us about why they're deserving of this, and then split it. The winner got $750, but the person who nominated the friend also got $200. Just little different things like that. This year, we decided to do a home competition. So I believe it's 8th grade. It's going to be the family awareness resourcing that they see here in town. So clothing, bedding, drive for them. And then the 7th grade is going to be the Hopeson. So clothing, toys, bedding as well. So adopting two different community programs that are here to help. And so again, just bringing awareness that I think from these resources that we really hopefully don't have that need. But unfortunately, some of them do, and you hear stories about how these programs help others. So we just want to bring awareness that they do exist and how we can help support others. Over the last 3 years, other things that we've done throughout the month of February. So we decided to do a kindness day. So like 7th grade, you'll have the student of the month assembly. 8th grade will go to kindness day, and then the next. So that would be a Friday and Monday. It was 8th grade will go to the assembly, 7th grade to do a kindness day. And so we deliver snacks and coffee to elementary staff. We have the pin loading students. We play games with seniors at the senior center. Pick up trash around Husky Stadium. We cleaned up all of the cemeteries in town and placed flowers on headstones. We wrote appreciation cards and delivered them to Sweet Home PD and the fire department. One classmate positivity posters, all and posted them all around the school. Last year we handed out Hershey Kiss bouquets around town. So we made the one home run and then they went down safely down. She handed them to strangers and wished them a happy day. Wrote letters to veterans, and many other things. And so just trying to touch people's lives and doing this. And then I just wanted to tell you guys about some of the things that we have built into our everyday stuff, our systems. So every month we have a student of the month assembly. That focuses on our character traits, so integrity, gratefulness, a whole bunch of different character traits. And so every teacher nominates a student, 7th and 8th grade. So, it's 23-ish kids that get their picture up and goes up on the wall the entire month. And so, really cool way to honor them and bring awareness about kids doing the right thing. We have Interact Club with Dr. Horton and Rose, who comes into school on Wednesdays after school, and that's a straight volunteer club. And so students join that club. And they focus on 3 projects. One is a community project, one is a school project, and then one is like a worldwide project. And so like last year, our worldwide project was shoebox of book, I can't remember exactly, but a book, toy, things like that, and they sent that to kids in need, and I think they were happy with the community project last year, I believe it was last year, they raised funds to bring in sand for the track. And you saying long-term original credits. So different things there. Last year our club was pretty small. The year before I think it was down. And so they had a close. Our TLC group is amazing, just like the high school's leadership group. But that's 50 students, and every year they tour the city hall and sit down with the mayor and talk about how city government works. I think next month they're heading to the state capitol to sit down with our representative. Take a tour of what they can see it because it's still on construction. They went shopping in late November for the Christmas sharing tree. They help out quite a bit with the elementary schools at carnivals and fun runs and whatever else the elementary schools are doing. And then I just wanted to point out so quarter 1, quarter 2 is 25 kids, quarter 3, quarter 4 is different 25 kids in TLC. And we partnered them up with 7th grade buddies. And so about once a month, those kids in leadership class will come out during lunch and hang out with their 7th grade buddy, play games, ping pong, trivia, different things like that. Every once in a while, they'll just come into the cafeteria, hang out with kids. They'll go to our recess and go play basketball, volleyball. The 7th grade is just building connections. So it's not us versus the type of things. We're all tired and we're going to help each other out. And then we are extremely happy. We've been trying to get this going for the last 3 years, unsuccessfully, but this year, some schools closer to us have also adopted. So we now have a unified program at the junior high. We've been trying to do that. We already had Jersey supporter, but Lebanon now has a team of 7-0. Woodford now has a team in Kalamazoo, Independence now has a team. So we have, I think, 5 games on the calendar. Our first home game is February 26th. I was just talking to Ralph about how we could use the high school gym during the school day because. Our max capacity at the junior high is 373, so we bring in our 7th and 8th graders so they can have that experience and families just as doable. So we got to figure out some logistics there, but we're super excited to have that going. When Mrs. Gavette started pulling in kids to ask them if they wanted to join that, there was kids crying, you know, they didn't think that. But, and so it was really hard to be able to get that going.
What time is that basketball game?
I've not set on a time yet, but it's probably going to be. Probably about 1:30 to 1:45.
Can you send that information so they can see it? Thank you.
We'll do that about 6.
Thank you for all your efforts.
Yeah, that's all. Really scared to death of those kids until I got up there. And, oh, these kids are fun. This is fun.
Thanks for all you do.
Pillar 3, academic success for all. You heard a little bit about the Family Science and Engineering Night that was held at Hawley in conjunction with OSU. There were rocket launches. They did some liquid nitrogen types of activities, so really quality event. Well attended. And then connected school community, we have a number of our elementary schools writing Valentine's Day letters to veterans. So we had that opportunity come through, and that's nice, nice thing to see. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, it's a consent agenda. Approve the minutes from January 12, 2026 school board meeting. Accept the retirement from Brian Brands, Director, Student Services Director. Effective February 27th, 2026, contingent on being rehired back March 1st, 2026 under a post-retirement agreement. C, accept the resignation of Marissa Russell, district teacher of Fox Elementary, including the 2506 academic year. And D, approve temporary hire of Lisa Latham, assistant principal of the high school for the remainder of the 25-26 school year.
So moved.
Dale made the motion, except seconded by Jenna. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Passes unanimously. Next, we'll move on to the audit report.
Okay, thanks, Mike. I think we have Brian Thompson from our audit firm, Polly Rogers, online. I'll start. We have a summary, item 7A in the board packet of this year's audit. The auditors issued an unmodified opinion on the district's financial report and the student activity funds financial report. They also provided an auditor's communication letter to you. Another highlight, district expenditures were within the authorized appropriations in all areas. Maybe Brian, if you're on, I'll let you explain what an unmodified opinion means.
Thank you, Kevin, and good evening to all of you.
How about just hold on and we'll get the sound for you, Brian.
Oh, sure, no worries. Let me know when you're ready.
How about try again, Brian? Let's see if we can hear you.
Okay, am I coming through okay now?
Okay, well, right now, thank you, Brian, for being here. I'll say an unmodified opinion is a clean opinion. One of the nice things, really, the auditors work for you, the board. And so it's nice to kind of be able to put a name with the face of for the auditors. We're working on the sound side. How about try again, Brian?
Hello, hello. Am I coming through?
Okay, nothing so far.
Cantaloupe.
How about just hold on for another 30 seconds and we'll try plan B.
Yes,
Julie, can you try speaking to us, please? I know your voice is sore.
Hers looks like it's muted
Can you hear me now?
there, not anymore.
Unmuted. Anything, Julie?
Yep, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Okay, well, Brian, we apologize. It appears to be on our side, but we definitely appreciate you being here. What I would say is, in the mail, you should have all received both the district financial statements, the student activity financial statements, as well as the audit communication letter. Look those over. We've summarized everything in 7A, but again, the key takeaways. The auditors issued a clean opinion, which is what we strive for. And also all expenditures were within authorized appropriations in all areas. And we definitely appreciate the work you do, Brian. And, again, if any of you ever have questions, concerns, anything, we can, definitely get in contact with Brian with Polly Rogers.
Fine within authorized appropriation.
What that is, Mike asked the question, what is meant by authorized appropriations? And so what we, for our different funds, we have like the general fund, we have special revenue funds. And then within that, we have function levels for instruction, support services. And so what that means is that in all of those areas, what the board budgets or adopts as the budget is an absolute limit, and we're not allowed to spend over that in those areas. And so what that means is that we stayed within those boundaries in all of those areas. So, yeah, well, Brian, thank you so much. We'll, I wish we could hear you, but it's good seeing you. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hey,
Oh, did that come through?
we can hear you.
Oh, great. Thank you. All right.
Well, now that I've said that, please, anything I missed, feel free to cover.
Sure, no problem. So I'll pretty much just kind of echo what Kevin's been mentioning. So I'll just kind of go over the results. So again, like Kevin mentioned, we provided a clean opinion. It's basically the best result that we can provide. Just no exceptions. We didn't find any significant deficiencies. We didn't find any material weaknesses within the audit reports. As far as state minimum standards, we didn't find any exceptions or any issues that required comments. We didn't find any issues as far as non-compliance with the federal grants, and that kind of goes with our single audit testing we do every year. And then as far as a management letter, we did not have to send that in. We only have to send that in if there were any material weaknesses or disagreements with management, which thankfully we didn't have that this year. And then something that was significant for this year is GASB Statement 101. And this essentially is for compensated absences. So before, we've been reporting on just vacation leave and what all that stuff. So included with that vacation, we've now included sick leave. And you'll find more details on that in the audit report. But yeah, that's the main thing for this year. And then a couple of other matters for the next fiscal years. So we have GASB Statement 103, which has to do with financial reporting model improvements. And a lot of this has to do with just general improvements with the management discussion and analysis. And we'll go into more detail with Kevin and his team during our upcoming field work with them. Then the next item we have here is GASB Statement 104. And this just gives more disclosure on capital assets. And again, we'll go over that with Kevin and his team. It's just it just wants more disclosure as far as certain disclosures with capital assets, so nothing too concerning on that. And then lastly, I have a couple of best practices. These are not significant deficiencies, but these are more just comments that we've noted during the audits. And we only have two, and these have been kind of recurring from year to year. So the first one I have here is for Fidelity insurance coverage. And we've noted that the district, excuse me, the district kind of carries cash in excess of their insurance coverage. We just recommend that the board continues to examine that exposure risk and just make sure everything is in line with the insurance when it comes around. And the second item I have is for 403B compliance. We've noted that the district kind of contracts with a third party for as far as compliance, and as far as like penalties and making sure everything looks good on that. We just recommend that the the board continues kind of examining those non-compliance if they come about. But in conclusion, yeah, just like Kevin said, just like I mentioned before, everything looked clean, everything looked great the last fiscal year. And I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have at this time.
What investigative process do you go through to arrive at your conclusions?
That's a good question. So I'll kind of go over the purpose of our financial audits. We could meet up with Kevin and his team. We'll meet up with them within the next month or two as for our interim audits. And then again in the fall, that's when we'll have our final field work. And we just kind of go over sampling inquiries, a lot of analytical field work. We just kind of make sure everything is in line with generally accepted accounting principles. We also make sure it's compliant with generally accepted auditing standards. And in addition with that, we also check for compliance with the state municipal audit law and the compliance with federal, state, and agencies when it comes to federal grants and all that stuff. And that's basically the gist of that purpose there. Hopefully that answers your question there.
Yeah, I think so. Just kind of as a follow-up question, if you budget an item for X amount, there's a way during the budget year to transfer additional funds to cover that excess.
With board approval.
With board approval.
I'm sure Kevin could probably go into more clarity on that, but yeah, we just kind of make sure as far as going to like certain expenditures, we just kind of make sure comparing what's reported in the financial report and comparing that with the state budget, we just kind of make sure everything looks clean, everything looks great based on what the board approves and
Yeah, sorry, that was a question maybe more directed to Kevin, not you. I appreciate your answer, Bill.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you all for having me. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
You have anything you want to add, Kevin?
Just any follow-up questions from you, I would be happy to field them.
There's a, I guess I need the term. I believe that's looking, there's a process where you can move funds.
Correct.
In subcategories.
Yeah, like an example would be under general fund support services. let's say that we had unexpected event of some sort that happened that caused us to have to spend over the amount that the board had approved. What we could do is come to the board, and typically what we would try to do first is move, like, say if it looked like we were going to be perhaps underspent in instruction, we would ask you for permission to move that to the budget for the other areas so we could stay within that. But it is also possible where the board, assuming we have the resources available, could increase the budget amount for that particular area to make sure that we stay within what the board has said. You know, the key thing is making sure we have enough reserves to be able to do that, because that's where some districts have got into trouble. Is it's kind of like your money at home. If you don't have a place to borrow, you know, some districts, I think Silverton, Silver Falls a couple of years ago had to take out a loan. You know, some things like that ideally we can avoid, because then that just puts you that much deeper in the hole the next year.
So that's all with board approval, isn't?
Correct. Yes, I don't have authority to do that, thankfully. That's one of those, I come to you for authority if we're ever in that situation.
I don't have any more questions, Kevin. Do you have any more comments? Anybody else have questions for Kevin? Gary?
So the auditor basically just goes through our budget and makes sure everything looks good according to what we thought we were gonna do.
I would say that's just one very small part of the audit. Most of the audit, what they will do, and this is something I could provide, is that we're going to have interim field work soon, and it's interesting to see. They'll give us a multi-page checklist of things that they want. So they'll want from payroll, they'll want reports, they will sample individual employee information to make sure that we have everything for even hiring, proper documentation. What they will do then is make sure that like time cards are being signed by the employee and also by their supervisor, making sure, you know, this happened in another district, but one of the things, they had a payroll person, this was some time ago in another district, they had a payroll person who decided that they were going to put or add a relative as an employee, and they then started to process payments to them. This person was not an employee and did not work for the district, and the audit helped catch that. And so they're looking for those sorts of things on the payroll side. Very similar on with vendors. They want to make sure that we're following board policy. So for example, if it's
documentation to payments and all
that. If it's a substantial purchase, they want to make sure that we have, you know, if we need to get multiple quotes, that we've done that. And so we have to have documentation to show that. They'll be looking at the documentation that for what we've paid for vendors, you know, they'll sample that. One of the things that they will do too is if they start to find issues, then they will widen and they will add and sample even more and more. And if they get that, very likely, then you will end up getting written up. And so there are a lot of times you'll hear of districts that don't have that unmodified clean opinion. And it's because of kind of the trail of things that the auditors find. So
what happens if you get written up?
Well, a variety of things, and it can be what it is. You know, one of the things that can happen is in that communication letter to you, if you read that, it's very plain, which is exactly what we want. If there are a number of issues, what they will do is they could say to who they're auditing that, you know, talk about lacking internal controls, segregation of duties, talking about things that they have found that raise red flags to them. And so one of the nice things is really, I mean, the auditors do work for you, and that communication letter is important because if those concerns exist, they're going to share them with that. And then, you know, and some of those too can be relatively, I mean, you know, you look at it like segregation of duties. That's one of those where even in a district our size, we have staff members that sometimes have to do multiple responsibilities. You know, we try to have it where we have a different person do the bank reconciliation than is making deposits, those sorts of things. But as you get smaller and smaller, sometimes you do have people that are having to do multiple functions like that. And that's what increases potential risk. And that's what the auditors are, one of the things that they're trying to evaluate and then share if they see that. So.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we have, because of the audit back in the what 90s, I think it was, we did modify our some of our actions because the feedback from them on how we handle some of our accounting, because of the, like, just like you said, people doing the same things, but we had kind of shifted it up.
I don't remember a specific circumstance. I can say that, you know, as you know, we've had some turnover in staff, and at those times, you know, there are those times where you sometimes have a person that's having to do multiple things, and you know, ideally what we're trying to do is avoid that as much as possible, because that's just good accounting practice.
Have we in the last few years had anything that was not a clean report?
No, I think as far in all my time here, we've had clean reports every year.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next, it looks like,
Okay, 7B budget update. We are now through 7 months of the fiscal year. General fund spending is up compared to the same time period last year by 932,000. The largest single item increase is for our PERS rates, and that will actually be one of the information items coming up shortly. So we'll talk about that in just a minute or two. Any questions on the budget?
Hearing none, we would, we go on from 7C.
Sure. Let's see. Last month, the board requested a spending report on the travel and professional development account for the Office of the Superintendent, including the fiscal years 2022-23, 2023-24, and 2024-25. And so that is all included here in the board packet. There kind of subtotals for the various, like there was a conference, or you know, looking at this, a meeting. We tried to kind of summarize that, and then a total for each year. And so I'd gladly take any questions that the board has regarding that report.
How often is the COSA conferences? Are they?
So looks here,
But
The COSA conference, COSA, they have various meetings throughout the year. They do have one large annual conference that's held each year, normally at the very end of June. And like you'll notice in the 23-24 school year, just based on when expenditures came through, we had some expenditures for the prior year and some for the current year that fell into that year that kind of inflated for 1 year. The total amount that was spent in that year.
I guess my question would be, is this overall excessive compared to any other district? Or is this a very standard, we're doing what we need to do, we're attending conferences we need to attend, we're getting what we need, and continued education? I mean, you can kind of look through or whatever, what some of this stuff is for registration for all of our principals and everybody to go, like, those are pretty common standard things that we need to attend.
I would say it's common. I mean, I would definitely, if the board is interested, I could look at, and some other similar sized school districts and see how our spending is in line with their spending. But, looking at the types of expenditures, hearing from other districts, I know that they do encourage staff to, participate in professional development opportunities, go to conferences. And so I would say that by and large, that's in line with what you would see elsewhere.
Yeah, if you'd be willing to look at other districts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, while they apply with transparency, I don't know that we need as much.
Okay. But yeah, I don't mind. Okay.
Just because we.
I would much rather us be more transparent than less.
Yeah. So while the comparison's good. Great. This much detail or down. I think if we're up to me, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I'm good either way.
I personally would like to see it like that from just because.
I probably won't be, what I can get is a dollar amount.
So we kind of have a guideline on
Mhm.
what other districts are doing. Because
Sure.
I've never looked at other districts' budgets, so I don't know.
Well, and it's always good, I think, to benchmark to
Yeah.
see, so
Yeah.
And it'll fluctuate from year to year too, depending on what's pushed down by the state.
I just was, the COSA, I was seeing a lot of that show up, so I didn't know how regularly we were. Not required, because none of this is. required.
correct, that's not required. Yeah, and I would say that's correct, that's for us, for administrative professional development, that's the big ticket item typically each year.
Multiple times a year.
The conference, yeah, the COSA, there are throughout the year, COSA will sponsor other meetings like that. The big one though is their annual conference that's held at the end of June, right after the school year is over.
The other question for Kevin on that? If not, gonna need PERS really.
PERS, okay, this was another question the board had, and it's pertinent. This is the line item that has the largest year-to-year increase for us. And so 7D, first on that first page, a lot of numbers there at the bottom, but this is a report that PERS publishes that shows the various investment classes and how well or not so well they've done. And so this is for year to date through December 2025. Just some of the, I guess, highlights there. Public equity in the stock market had an outstanding year this past year. For PERS returned just over 21%. And so if you could be a Monday morning quarterback, if you wish that for the full year, PERS could have been all in on the stock market, but that only made up a portion of their portfolio. One of the things that weighted it down, real estate returned just over 2% last year. And one of the things that's been in the news, and I've included a recent article about it, is that PERS has invested heavily in what's called private equity. And last year, private equity did just over 8%, which it is good. But when you look at if they had been more weighted to, say, just an S&P 500 index fund that was returning closer to 20%, that would have helped their overall performance. And so what the article talks about is in recent years, PERS has been overweighted to private equity. Private equity has not done well as an asset class compared to others. And so that PERS has, last year was an exception, but for some of the years before that, PERS had not met its 6.9% assumed rate target. And so when PERS does not get to 6.9% for its overall portfolio, what they have to do is come back to us as employers and say, we're short, we need you to contribute more. And so the way they get us to contribute more is they increase our PERS rates. And so that's what they did effective June 30th this year. And that's why we're spending quite a bit more on PERS. And the article, it's a lengthy article, but I think it's a really good article that talks about the impact that that's had on other, not just school districts, but other public employers as well. And so, you know, PERS is definitely have that big gorilla in the room when it comes to our budget. And so on days like Friday, when the stock market does well, I might be in a little bit better mood. On days when the market doesn't do so well, probably not quite as good of a mood. And so the article, I think, though, does a good job kind of explaining really what drives PERS rates.
I just had a question, Kevin, on the packet here. So I was looking, when it says like the defined benefit pension plan continued, it said that the outflow is 11 million, close to 12. Is that what we pay? Or is that, when I was looking at the numbers right here, I was just curious about, is that what we're responsible for?
That's
that kind of number?
Not in any one year for us. Okay. What that's looking at is the way PERS does it is they have, the best way to explain it, they have a rate that's set for all school districts. Okay. And so we make up just a fraction of that. And what they do is calculate, okay, Sweet Home School District, this is what your portion is. I have another report if you're interested.
No, I was just curious.
Okay,
I just saw this number and I'm going,
it's
my word,
yeah,
it's millions of dollars a year we give out.
We are paying to PERS. I mean, when you think about it, and our employer rate is lower actually than many, but for every dollar that we pay out in salary and wages, we're paying in over 30 cents to PERS. And kind of the tough part about that is that's not so much for our current employees. A portion, a good share of that is, but a lot of that is for people that have already retired and left the system. And so we kind of have that anchor on us because not enough money had been set aside when they were working, and plus the legislature had promised, you know, this is, yeah, some really nice benefits. You know, it's, you go back far enough, and a lot of the PERS tier 1 people that really benefited are retired now, but because not enough money was set aside while they were working, we're having to make up that shortfall now. But, you know, it's one of those that we're aware of it, we budget for it, and, you know, we're paying for it, so.
Wow, yeah.
We have a PERS side of that.
We do, so, you know, without trying to get too much into the weeds, but back the board over 20 years ago authorized the district to borrow money at that time and pay down our unfunded liability. And so really the key bet that the board made, and a lot of school districts and employers, even the state did this at that time, was that the money borrowed would earn a higher rate of return than the interest cost on the money borrowed. And actually, if you look at over the past 2 decades, we have actually benefited from that, because to this point, the investment earnings have exceeded the interest costs on that. With that said, that's winding down right now. And so we've been able to get rate credits from that side account, which has helped us. But soon, both the debt will be gone, but also the side account balance will be gone, which means we don't get rate credits anymore. And so that's just one more thing as we kind of plan for the future that we're watching. I would say, you know, we've had a couple of opportunities where PERS has what's called the Employer Incentive Fund, where we've made deposits into PERS and then they give us a 25% match, which puts us in a little bit better position than many school districts. So even going forward, I think we're positioned better than many, but PERS still will be a huge issue for us going forward unless they invest in NVIDIA and NVIDIA doubles, triples again, whatever. I'm joking on that. They have to be very conservative in that, because they need to maintain cash to be able to pay out benefits too. And so, you know, as much as we grumble about their returns, I know that, you know, they have people way smarter than me investing their money, and hopefully for the long term, you know, the returns will be, you know, exceed the assumed earnings rate. I don't know if I kind of sort of.
Anything you want to add?
I'm good, thanks.
Next, first reading of board policies. JFCPD AR, personal electronic devices and social media. Delete this version, JFCPD AR, personal electronic devices and social media, new version. There for first reading. Any questions?
Where's the version that we're putting in place?
The one that's not marked delete, just right behind it.
I just have an application request, a personal device.
That's it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
If I may. This is going from the old language to get into compliance with the governor's requirement with the cell phones being banned from school during the school day. There are both medical, like someone that reads their diabetic sensor monitor, reads that on their phone. And so this is the avenue that allows for that for a medical reason, mental health reason. You know, folks that are returned.
We're reading this policy because the policy that we adopted, and this is the exception to allow medical.
Yes, and so this is the guideline.
Other reasons, either. So
I have a question. We're talking about what our governor currently has made a choice of, that what we need to do within our schools. When we have a new governor, how does that change? You know, they will most likely adapt whatever policies that they're wanting to change. So we continue to move with whatever's recommended by the governor? Or do we, So like if we're saying absolutely no cell phones in school, this is what we're doing because this is what our governor's mandating of us. And this is an an application to fill out if you needed to be able to have it. And then we get a new governor in a few months or however long, and then we get it, and then they say, okay, well, actually, we don't care if you have cell phones in school. Where as a board does that put us,
Then we can repeal it or keep it.
Then we hope that the new governor that thinks you can have phones in schools. Repeals that executive order, makes their own executive order saying you can have phones in schools.
and then we adapt to that.
I mean, my understanding.
But I feel like we go from one extreme to another, and then we go back to another, like.
Legislature debated this back and forth.
Yeah,
Didn't pass it into law, governor
right,
went to the executive order.
right. That's, I guess, my thing is that it's not getting anywhere besides through our governor, so. When it goes back and forth, we just continue to adapt whatever our current governor asks of us, I guess. Do you have any insight on that? Like. I'm not saying put cell phones back in school, I'm just
Right.
saying in general, like, it's an extreme and then do we fall off the extreme?
This is following
Yeah,
most of the rest of the states who have done so. The results thus far, people are not going back. They're finding positive examples. Something that we didn't have to deal with when we were in school was bullying via phones. Now students do. That's taken a huge step to take those numbers down during a school day. And so you're 100% right about what you're saying. This did go through the legislature, it didn't make it through. And so the governor chose to enact it by an executive order. It could happen, but I doubt it based on the other states across the country that have removed them. The positive things they're seeing students talking, interacting with one another more. So while that could happen, I think at this point, just based on what the other states have gone to it and are staying with it, I think it's unlikely to.
Gotcha. Are we hearing anything negative from staff?
The elementary, despite elementary students absolutely having phones. The elementary hasn't been an issue, very little. The junior high had gone to no phones during last time several years back. And the high school got right on it this year. There's always going to be a few. I pay for my son or daughter's phone bill, you're not taking it away from them. Well, all we're saying is they can't use it during the school day. If they need to make a phone call, they can go to the office and do so. But not to be used during a school day. There's a few that you might imagine happen. But by and large, it has not been. Not nearly, I think with high school starting it right at the beginning of the school year. Instead of waiting until January to implement it. That helped a lot too. Any other questions? What was the relation to inflation free? We just have it here, so it is a first reading. Let's. Action item, proposed 2026 school calendar. So this calendar that you have before you, this draft, it has been out longer than the required 30 days that it's required to be. The buildings have had a chance to look at it, both classified and certified unions has had a chance to look at it. It's been passed down to our staff level and meetings and such. All of the departments here have looked at it. Unless there is something that all of us have collectively missed. We believe that this is a calendar that will work for our required days. And the start and the end work as do the holidays. And so we are requesting approval for this calendar.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the proposed 2026-2027 school calendar.
Motion by Gail to approve the calendar.
Your second. Rachel seconded that motion. All in favor of approving the calendar, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Hearing none, pass it unanimously. Resolution 25-26, so yeah, really. May bond collections. Yeah, do you want to speak to those?
Sure. This is a resolution and proposed ballot title that's based on the five guiding objectives that you, the board, approved last month for a possible May 2026 bond measure election. Those five are: maintain the current tax rate, student safety and security, upgrade classrooms and career learning facilities, durable, long-lasting schools, and leverage grants to reduce local costs.
And this was drafted by the bond council.
Correct.
I know any approval for A on page 2. Where it says at the end of the sentence form SEL 805, but it should be in N parentheses.
Oh, correct.
So if
Would that change?
subject, we can continue.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the resolution number 2526-3 with the noted change.
I will second that.
Motion by Dale, a second by Jenna. Is there any conversation? Discussion? Do you want to talk about what's the legal effect of this? Kevin, what happens with this resolution?
What we will do is we'll take this to the Lincoln County Clerk's office and we'll give them the ballot title information and the resolution. Very likely what they'll do is they will make suggested improvements to the ballot title to meet all of their requirements, give it back to us for editing, and then we'll submit a final version. Once they approve it, they'll stamp it. And then, it's up to the voters in May to decide the outcome.
And based on if this bond is approved, we would consider construction in the summer.
I would say it would be, we would not that fast. It's one of those things that what we would do is we've had some preliminary discussions with the architect, but we don't yet want to commit a lot of money until we know the will of the voters. So once if it were to pass, then what we would do is get to work on finalizing what the plans would be. There could be potentially some preliminary work that could be done, but I would say that most of the construction work would take place starting summer of 2027.
And do you have an idea timeline, how long it would take?
I would say that we would have to do some phases because it's going to continue to be an operating campus during construction. And so with that, we would tackle probably the most starting in the summer of 2027. It would continue then during the 27-28 school year, wrapping up the following summer. But then at that point, there would be work we would want to also be doing to the existing building to tie it in with what would be the new classroom section, as well as the CTE areas that would be improved. And so that would then go into that following school year too. So it's one of those, as much as, I think we would all like to see it happen quickly, given the nature of construction, it would take, this would be a very major, I mean, this would be a big project. I mean, what we're trying to do is position Sweet Home High School to serve students well for decades to come. And so this would be a large project to do that. I think in the end, just kind of like with the junior high, everyone will say it was well done, but it's going to take time.
How is, one of the school districts trying to impact the revised Senate Bill 447 school capital matching program?
Okay, so can you repeat the question?
How are we impacted by the Senate Bill?
Let me find.
447, the OSCIM.
Okay, yeah, I'm more familiar with awesome OSCIM. So that's one of the exciting things that really makes this possible. So we can get a lot more work done for Sweet Home and save money here locally, is that the awesome Oregon School Capital Improvement Matching Grant Program. We have received, and it's contingent on voters approving a bond, a $12,252,000 grant that will come to Sweet Home if we pass a bond. And so that we can spend on this project, which really the effect of that is that's huge in reducing the local cost to be able to get that amount of work done that we're talking about. So that's a huge part of this, is that grant and how it can help us.
So, and will this bond raise taxes? It raises the tax rate on.
It's structured.
I'm a homeowner in the district.
It's structured to maintain the existing tax rate, very similar to what we did in 2017 when we the community passed the bond for the junior high school. And in fact, since then, due to growth in assessed values, the actual tax rate has declined. This one would be structured very similar to that. So the intent is for it to maintain the, if Sweet Home has a lot of growth and you see some of the new residential areas right now where they're putting in infrastructure, that would definitely help. And if that continued, it could actually, we could see reductions over time. But right now, it's the key assumption here is that it is structured to maintain the existing tax rate. So you would not see an increase in your tax rate, correct?
And what architectural, when working with the architects, what are the big portions of the project?
The big portions right now, one, we want to touch every school and improve safety and security. And so that's looking at communication, lockdown systems, making improvements at all schools for that. A second key one is career tech ed. We want to be able to prepare our students to be able to go out and, get jobs, and ideally local jobs. And so what can we do, to be, for manufacturing, health occupations, welding, agriculture, a really good example there. If you go into Mr. Scott Jacobson's classroom, you'll see plants and grow lights and student desks all kind of crammed together there. One of the things we want to be able to do for him is to build a separate standalone greenhouse that his students and the FFA program can benefit from. But then the biggest thing is when you go and you look at the current high school, when the classroom sections of Sweet Home High School were designed and built, it was a different time when it came to school security. And I think also at that time, where most of the classroom sections are, the thought at that time is we want to build classrooms quickly and affordably. And so kind of the quickest, fastest way is, it almost seemed like what we did is, hey, Southern California has this California style open breezeway, flat roof classroom floor plan. We're going to take that and we're going to put that right here in Western Oregon. And we did. And so we have open breezeways, flat roof construction for most of our classrooms. Two issues with that, from just building durability, there are issues there, but also security. I mean, it's one of those we have right now. If you walk from off campus onto campus, there are over 40 places where you can either just open a door and directly access a classroom, a bathroom, or other areas where students are. And so security today, the way you design a school is entirely different than it was when the classroom sections of Sweet Home High School were built. So the biggest part of this would be to replace the primary classroom wings with a new classroom building connected to the main building, and have it within a secured campus where, just like now, if a student wants to leave campus, they can. But if you want to leave after first period and you want to come back for third period, as it is now, it's pretty easy just to wander into your third period class. Going forward, there's going to be accountability where you come in through a monitored front entrance with a security vestibule and you check into school. You can't just on your own wander back into your third period class anymore. We want to have a design and a facility that has it where if you leave and you want to come back, there's accountability.
And that traffic flow and keep out the part of interveners that are.
Correct. If you are a visitor, and you can define visitors in a lot of different ways. If you want to visit campus, you have to come in through a security vestibule front entrance and be checked in by the office staff. You can no longer wander in from 18th Avenue onto campus. You can no longer come in down by the west parking lot and come around multiple corners and wander in. You can't come across from the field south of the high school and come onto campus. If you're going to be in areas where we have students, you come in through the front entrance. You come in through the front door. It's a secured entry.
And what,
Maybe talk a little bit more about what CPE classrooms look like. And I know there's been some tour of other facilities. And what conversation together can have see so it's possible.
Yeah, that could cover a lot of territory there. One area, and I know, I mean, Dustin is familiar with this because he for a lot of years, his second home was our wood shop. That building has served us well over the decades, but it's at the end of life, and so the plan would be to replace that. We've talked with our metal shop teacher, and there he has kind of his wish list of what he can do to help support his students, and so we want to be able to tackle that. There are things too, like health occupations, where we want to be able, I mean, that is a growing field where graduates can go out and get some pretty well-paying jobs. And so we want to have a nice facility for that. Agriculture, that FFA program, it's neat to see that that's a program that we didn't have a few years ago. Right now, they're using a makeshift classroom that when you look at it, it looks, you have a couple of garage doors that are beat up and you walk in there and they're making it do, but it was never meant to be a classroom, much less a greenhouse or anything else. And so what we want to be able to do is provide students with a nice facility for that. That's just a start. I know that, we're doing Ammon Mills has a great program where he's doing some really neat things with his kids as far as making things kind of and trying to sell them and stuff. So, how can we expand that? I'd say the bigger thing, and this is like, it's kind of neat where you see some of the new classrooms and they have like the outlets, it's wired coming down from the ceiling and stuff. They may be doing, robotics, different things, but we want to design and build a facility that's going to serve Sweet Home well for 75 plus years. I'd like to think well beyond that. And so try to design it with some flexibility. So we don't even know what the next big thing is, but we have space then that is set up in such a way that we can adjust and provide those skills for our students so they can be successful.
Does anyone else have any questions? I don't have any more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything you want to add?
No, you covered it.
No, thank you. We'll look for a motion to,
There's a motion already on
oh, there is.
Huh? it hasn't
So
been,
we started. it.
we have to vote on it, yeah.
So there's a motion by Gail, a second by Jenna.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Hearing none, passes unanimously. And now board conference. We have any board conference?
Keep session.
At this time, we're gonna adjourn the regular meeting and go into executive session under ORS 182.660. To Delta license bargaining. Followed by to India. To the end of the evaluation. So we have a break. And the news media is